Hey everyone, it's Rachel with Rachel's Wig Reform. Today I am going to do a repeat wig review for you. In fact, I kind of debated if I should even do this review because I've done it before, but I thought, what the heck, I'm going to. Because there's maybe a few little tricks that I can show you today that maybe I didn't even know when I did the last review for this wig. Now, why did I buy it again? I have no idea. Listen, wearing wigs can be weird. We do weird stuff. We do crazy stuff. We buy a wig, we don't think we like it, and then a year later we buy it again and we like it. I don't know. It's one of those things. But here's what I want to touch base on real quick, because there is, when I say weird wig world, it's weird, okay? And there's like a lot of stuff on social media that gets out and about, and some of you might not ever see it. I see it, but you know, whatever. Here's the thing. With my wig channel, I have purchased every single one of my wigs except for three. Out of all the wig reviews you have seen me do, I have purchased and paid for all of those wigs out of my own pocket, except for three. With that being said, even with the ones that were sent to me, I still give my honest opinion on all of them. I don't care if the company says I'm going to pay you $1,000, which nobody ever has, by the way, to do this wig review, but you need to, talk it up. I wouldn't take the money. I just wouldn't, because my whole channel has been about helping you with the frustrations of wigs, of what I went through, showing you my little tricks of what I do, and there's a lot of critics out there and a lot of people that can kind of make up things and assumptions as to how I'm getting my wigs. You want to know how I'm getting them? My Shopify debit card account that is on file. That is how I'm getting them. I pay for these myself, and I will always give you my honest review, even if the wig is provided to me. Just wanted to kind of touch base on that because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. And like I said, you might not even see those things. Maybe I do because I'm in this weird wig world. There's a sentence I shouldn't say very often. But let's get talking about the wig that I have today. This is Rich Mono by Ellen Wille, and the color is Pearl Blonde Rooted. Now again, this is the second time that I have reviewed this wig, but I'm going to show you a little trick on getting that zigzag part out of there and moving the part, especially with a full mono top, if you want the part on a different side. And because this wig is like an astrum, that it's longer on one side. I can't say that word. That can be a little trickier on moving apart. We'll talk about the wig cap first. The one thing that I like about this is it is a full mono top. It has the basic ear tabs. It's just it's kind of a temple to temple lace front. It's not really extended like down farther. It's just your basic lace front. It does have an extended nape, and it does have the Velcro ear, not ear adjusters, but the adjusters to make the cap bigger or smaller. The cap back here does have a lot of stretch to it. Now, Ellen Wille can sometimes be known as a wig cap that runs a little smaller, average to petite. My head circumference is 22 inches. I don't have any problem with this wig at all. I'm like 11 and a half, 11 3/4 from ear to ear across the top. And this does not run short on me or big on me. It sits exactly where the ear tabs should sit. Now, one of the things about this wig, like I said, color is Pearl Blonde Rooted. It's kind of, I would say, like a dirty blonde, like a dishwater blonde is what I think they call that. And it has some lighter blonde highlights through it. This is more of a ashier to neutral blonde. This is not warm in any way. And the roots are very subtle. It is rooted, colors Pearl Blonde Rooted, but it's not a, it doesn't have the real dark dominant roots. It just sort of gives that little bit of hint of a root. Now, the specs on this wig are almost identical to Ignite. And that was one of the comparisons that I did with the first review, was I compared it to Ignite. This wig is going to be at a higher price point than Ignite because of the cap construction. And this wig does not have the permatease like Ignite does. The other thing that's different with this wig is this is not heat friendly. Ignite is. All right, let's go ahead and put her on. One of the things that I really loved about this wig the first time that I got it, and this just doesn't ever look very attractive right out of the box, and so that's why I'm gonna show you some tips on fixing this wig up. So right out of the box, this is ugly. Let's be honest. I mean, this just looks like I haven't been to the hair salon in forever, and I have no style or anything to my hair. We can fix this, okay? One of the things, like I started to say before I got distracted, was I loved the back of the hair, the nape area. I'll do a spin for you. The nape area is done really, really well. It's stacked up really nice in the back. It doesn't feel like it's a mullet back there, like some hairlines can. And then it also doesn't, as this comes down, it doesn't get the big, like, sort of mushroom bulk coming out of the back, like, kind of like Ignite does. Ignite is definitely more like fuller because it does have a lot of permatease. This does not have permatease. So you have your full mono top right here and no permatease in this. And the density of this wig is better overall than Ignite also. Especially like right here in the bangs. This is very light in density. It's not extremely thick and heavy right here. All right, so right now it still has that zigzag part in there, but let me show you the hairline here. One thing about Ellen Wille is they have the knots done very, very well up through there at the top. They're very fine, and they have it blended with the highlights just enough. It's not an overkill of those blonde highlights up through the hairline. Like Raquel Welch, I think for me personally, their hairline is too with those highlights across the front. I think it's too noticeable, I guess would be the word for it, where this here is just done very, very well. Could probably bring this down just a little bit more. There we go. It just blends in super, super nice. Okay, so what can you do to get this to have some style? This is very similar to Perry, which is just the last review that I did, and you could watch that to see how I fixed Perry up, because Perry sat very just sort of blah on my head when I first put it on. Now, one of the things that I like to do is you can shake the wig, or you can just get your hot air brush, a blow dryer, something. This is my hot air brush with the attachment off from it. Put it on just like a warm heat and get in there and get everything messed up. So that's what I'm going to do here real quick. And I'm really getting this at the root area. You got to remember these wigs have sat in a box for God knows how long. And they get what we call box hair, which means the fibers are sitting against the cap and they need to be loosened up from that. So getting in there with either shaking it or getting some heat. You can almost do like blow drying your hair upside down. So you just sort of get it all crazy, and you get those fibers. See the difference in that now? How that's getting some lift and some body, and it's moving more. There's more like texture and look to it versus when it would just came right out of the box. So that in itself makes a big difference. Just getting some movement through there and getting those fibers loosened up away from the cap. Now, the part here, this is a full mono top. So even though this right here is showing the longer bang, this side's a little shorter than this side. Even though this is showing the longer bang, you can part it on this side and take it over. What happens then, and I'll show you just real quick. I'm not going to do it because I don't want it to be parted this way, but the technique I'm going to show you next is the technique you could use. You're going to take, when you take those bangs over, what happens is you lose the length. It becomes more of that longer bang over here becomes the same length of the shorter side, and then you will still have a longer side over here. It's just that now this is the thinner side, which I don't think complements the cut in what the intent is for with the cut. So even though it's a full mono top, it's kind of one of those tricky things where, you know, it's designed to be a little longer here. Could you part this down the middle and split it? Sure, you could do just about whatever you wanted to with it, honestly. Now, what I like to do to get these parts out of here is I'm going to take a fine tooth comb, and that's not normally what I would comb my wigs with, especially the synthetic wigs. I normally use a wide tooth comb, but I want to get that zigzag part out of there. Then I'm going to just separate those fibers about where I want it to be. And what you're going to find when you do this is some of those fibers have been in the box. See how this is popping up? It's because that piece was laying over here. But I want it to go over to here now. This is where I want my part. So this is where it can get frustrating, because you see this like, oh, it's a free part. I can part it where I want to on top, but then you get this sort of mess and you're like, oh, why isn't it going and staying to the other side? This is what you want to do. Put a little bit, this is just water. Hit it with some water and start to move it over. You don't have to get this like super soaked down, just enough that the water is making a difference with the parting. So do you see how that opens up that part quite a bit also, where sometimes the parts almost look like they're non-existent on these wigs. And I think it's important to look like you have a part, because that's what makes the wigs look a little more natural. So I'm just going to put enough water on this to move those fibers how I want them. And what's good about this is exactly what I'm doing right here. You could do this if you parted it to the other side, or if you decided that you wanted to move that part a little bit more, you could do it again. This doesn't make it permanent. It's just helping you move it. I'm going to put just a smidge more water. Now what I'm going to do is take, see how that piece wants to come back like this? I want that to know it's going to go this way. Just a tiny bit of water. This, it probably looks like I'm spraying a lot of water on this, but it's really not as wet down as what you think it is. Now I'm going to take my air again. And then I am just going to pull the fibers gently over. I'm not like tugging on this. And I'm using the air to dry. This is a cold air too, by the way. To get the first little bit of moisture out of there to start to dry it. Then I'm going to switch it to a warmer air. Now this is some, this air is a little warmer, but it's not hot. And this concept is really no different than using a steamer, but I feel like this is easier than a steamer. I'm not good with the steamers. There's some people that are great with them. I'm not one of them. So I like to do this instead. Okay. I'm not going to do this where it's totally dry because, well, I want to get on with and then I'm going to do it over here too. Okay, so now if I decided, I don't know if this is where I wanted it to be parted, or maybe I want more to come over, or maybe I want more to go back, I would just apply more water, comb it, and keep applying the heat in the air until I got it where I wanted it. So right now what I'm feeling is, see all these little pieces? Those are the pieces that will drive you insane, like absolutely insane. This is the stuff that people are like, what do I do about these little tiny pieces that are in my eye? Well, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, you can take some Peace Out cream and rub it along your hairline. And by the way, oh wait, here it is. I thought I lost it. John Riddle Peace Out cream, and you can rub it along the hairline right here, and that will help get those pieces out of your face. Okay, or if you're like me, on some days I grab my little tiny scissors, and what I will do is I will chop them up to about right here. I don't cut them all the way off. I just put them like, just so they're these little tiny pieces along my hairline, and what that does is it makes the hairline look like it has some baby hairs, which a lot of hairlines do. Okay, so this piece right here, this point, it's probably just a smidge too long for me, and I will want to just take this little bit off. All of this in here, I'm good with, but that's just it's just too long for me. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my thinning shears. I don't want to cut this straight across, and I'm just going to kind of line it up with where that other short piece is, or the next, right there, that next longest piece. And then I'm going to take my thinning shears, and I'm just going to do that until it's gone. And then I drop them on my toe. So do you see how that took that point out of there? It's not so, I don't have that like long piece there. So it's a real simple fix. And if this is still too long for you, you can thin it, or use your thinning shears and do it again. If I don't break them. Let me see. Yeah, I think I'm going to do just a smidge more. Not a whole lot. I think that's plenty. Okay, so right here, you can see this piece still wants to lift. I would just apply some more, probably just a little bit more water to that and use my air dryer to get it to shift over into the other side. So the different styles you can do with this wig, you can put the one side behind your ear, and you can really get this up and away from your face if you wanted to. Or you can make it so that it's down like this, little sleeker across your eye. You can really get it messed up, and you can kind of flip these ends out and get some lift up at the top. You can put this side behind your ear also if you wanted to, and leave kind of a longer bang out. And you can put this side behind your ear too. There's a lot of different options you can do with this wig. Another thing that you can do is you can pull this up and back away from your face. You could put a braid in this. Because it is a full mono top, you could part it down both sides and put a French braid down the center, and then the ponytail at the top, and make it kind of, you know, crazy up in there, and make it just like a real fun look. And this could be a French braid, and you get that kind of messy and looking fun. You can pull some fibers down if you want to. There's a lot of different little looks you can do with this wig because it does have some length on the top of it. Okay, so I do have to play with this bang just a little bit more. It's not perfect. Normally what happens is it will start to get where I want it to be once I wash it one time and it sits on a mannequin head and dries like this. Then it starts to kind of know its place and which way I want that part to go. But that part is done. See, you don't get real knotty knots up in there. Now, obviously, I don't have any hair, so you just see my scalp right there. But sometimes the knots, because of a rooted wig, can be really overwhelming in the part area or across the hairline. And that can be like an insecurity because people, or you always think, are they looking at my hairline? Most of the time, no, unless the knots are extremely noticeable. Most people are not paying attention to your hairline like you think they are. So, all right, here it is again. Rich Mono, Ellen Wille, color Pearl Blonde Rooted. It's my second one. I sold my last one shortly after I did the review. We'll see how long I hang on to this one, you know. Like I said, it's a weird wig world sometimes. Anyways, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and we will talk with you soon.